Do you have enough time for me to unload the engine off the pallet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're my last stop. So.
Okay, yeah, I'll be as quick as possible.
All right.
Dun, dun, dun. You want me to get right up underneath it?
Say again?
You want me to get up underneath it, or are you gonna lower it?
Either one. I think I can lower it.
Like,
All right.
I'll go back it up.
All right, well.
So once I go it to the side, move this way. All right, so you can pull it. All right, we ended up getting a Jaguar 5-liter engine in for our 2012 Land Rover LR4. So we ordered this out of a 2012 XF Jaguar. It's the same engine. We will have to swap out the front pulley, which is not a big deal because I'm going to do all the timing work to this while it's in the engine stand. We're going to replace the vacuum pump. We have to swap out the oil pan, as I believe the oil pan's different. We'll probably do the chain for the fuel pump, high pressure fuel pump cams. We'll change that while we're at it. But this one's pretty cool. It came with all the sensors. This is how they shipped it. So I think these are $300 or $400 a piece. So I got 4 of those. We got camshaft position sensors. So I'm stoked about that. Came with the fuel injectors, fuel rail, coils. This has a 1-year warranty on it. Got to check the exhaust manifolds, see if they're the same. I'm not sure. No intake, so that's okay. There's your engine oil cooler. It's got the knock sensors. I just cut the pigtail. Yeah, it looks pretty sharp. We'll swap the oil pan. We'll double check the flywheel. There's your tag that came on it. Tested, pre-installation, maintenance. So we'll leave that on there until we get it all ready. But right now we're gonna stick it on the engine stand. I still gotta order all the timing components. So I'm gonna order everything that I think I'm gonna need for it. And then once we get that stuff in, we'll start fixing this and getting it ready to do all the timing, injector seals, change the spark plugs, do the PCV valves, everything we can. And then that way it's ready to put in. We'll pull the motor out of the Land Rover and then swap over whatever we need and go from there. So I couldn't find an oil pan gasket, but looking at this, looks like they just used like an RTV. So, which it's not surprising, not a big deal. So, all right, so we're gonna put this down on an engine stand. and move it out of the way. Oh, I did order the transmission. I put it into their website for 2012. I was very specific. 2012 Land Rover LR4. They ended up shipping out a transmission, and it was not the right one. It actually came out of a Range Rover. So the transmissions themselves are the same, but the computers are different. These transmissions, the computers have to be programmed to the vehicle. They're not programmed to the VIN, but they're programmed to the vehicle. So that would be any 2010 to 2013 LR4 5-liter transmission will work on any vehicle of that same LR4. But you can't take a Range Rover transmission and put it into an LR4. It won't function right. The programming's different. So that's the key you gotta keep in mind. Now reason why we're replacing the transmission is because we took the computer out of the wife's car because it wasn't running and put it into the 5-seater. Just to verify that was the problem, it was. So now, instead of buying a computer, which is ridiculously expensive, and I gotta pay to get it programmed, we bought a used transmission. Unfortunately, they shipped it out. They called me afterwards and said, we realized we shipped you out the wrong transmission. So I sent it back with the shipping company today when I got this, and they're gonna either refund my money if they don't have a transmission that'll work in my car. So I'll keep you posted on it. They did show that they had 3 or 4 transmissions. I just didn't want a 2010. I wanted like a 2011 or newer, because I think they changed some of the hardware on the computer to make it a little bit more durable. But we'll go from there. All right, I'll keep you posted. Right now we're gonna get this on the engine stand so it's safe and secure. All right, so I just got the Jaguar 5-liter on the engine stand. So this is basically what you're gonna get from a particular company. I'm not gonna give a shout out or anything. It's not sponsored. But if they work out and end up making right on the transmission, then I'll definitely give them a shout out. But again, this is out of a 2012 Jaguar XF with a 5-liter naturally aspirated engine. The Land Rover equivalent is about $2,000 to $3,000 more. I think this has about 111,000 miles, if I remember right. I can check the paperwork. But 111,000 miles, which is less than what her current vehicle has. I think it's at 142, 144. So the plan with this is I'm going to do all the timing job while it's on the engine stand. We're going to change the water pump. We're going to change this pipe and the seals, make sure that's up. We're going to change out, once it's in the car, we'll change out the crossover pipe, the plastic ones. We're going to do timing job. We're going to change vacuum pump because it looks like it's already leaking. We're also going to change the timing chain, or actually I should say the drive chain for the high pressure oil pump, high pressure fuel pump. And those are your 2 high pressure fuel pumps. I'm contemplating on replacing those while the engine's out. It's fairly easy to do. I've heard they can be problematic. I haven't seen any because of that, any Land Rovers with issues, but they're easy to get to now. They're cam driven off of its own camshaft that's driven off the timing gears. So that'll be easy to do. I'll price it out and see if I think it's worthwhile. We will be replacing the spark plugs, and I haven't decided. At least reseal the injectors and go from there. I don't anticipate having any problems, but we'll see. What else? Obviously, we got to change the oil pan, swap the old one over, or the Land Rover one over to here, change out the dampener, and we'll put all new pulleys on the front while we have it out. And yeah, I'm excited. And I'll get some parts on order for this. Get the parts show up, we'll start working on the engine before we pull the engine out of the LR4. So lots of work to do. We're going to slide this over with the other engine. Like I said in the other video, we had to hold off on the 2011 because we have a damaged camshaft. We'll swap the oil pan, we'll swap the dampener puller, because The Jaguar uses electric fan and only has a single belt pulley on a dampener. So we'll swap it to the double. This bracket's different. I'm not sure if I have to change the exhaust manifolds. We'll see once we get it apart. I do have a set of exhaust gaskets I ordered. So, what we're gonna do with this while it's out of the car, because it's gonna be super easy. I should be able to do a good video on it. Is we'll be able to do. I'm gonna do all the timing, new tensioners, adjusters, cams. We'll go through it all, get it all sealed up. We're gonna do a new water pump, obviously a new front cross coolant pipe, a rear crossover coolant pipe. Address those issues. We're gonna replace the vacuum pump, so that's good, and reseal everything. So we should be good to go. We got new spark plugs. I got new injector seal kits. So here's the parts that we got so far. I just laid them out, going through to see what I'm missing. So we got our exhaust manifold gaskets. We got a thermostat housing, valve cover gasket kit. We got a front main seal, vacuum pump seal. This is for the 2012. We have updated, so when you change out the replacement pump or vacuum pump is a different casting. So the original mounting bolts won't work. You'll need these. Once I get it open and we go to do that, I'll get you the part number. Oh, maybe it'll come through. LR060479. You'll need 2 of these. I bought 4 of them because I need 2 for the 2011 and 2 for this 2012. We got intake manifold gaskets. We got the front coolant pipe, water pump to oil cooler fitting, the new gasket, all the things we're going to need. We got the rear crossover pipe here. We got a new water pump. We got 6 of our 8 injector seal kits. We're waiting on the rest. There's our tensioners. So we got a lot of new stuff, new chains. So we'll be ready to go. Like I said, I think the only thing we're waiting on now, 2 more injector seals and the vacuum pump. So also have the PCV diaphragms. So those will be swapped out while it's easy to do. And you know, I thought I ordered spark plugs, so I have to look and see where the spark plugs are and get those on order. So, all right, I'm gonna put this back in the box since I know what I need, and then I'll start tearing this down. I probably won't do a video tearing it down because I show how to do that in the car. But I think once we go to set the timing on everything, it'll be a good walk around video to show you how the cam locks sit in the back, how everything lines up on the front. Should be a good easy video, so stay tuned. We'll get this thing tore down. So I just want to show something. I took my compressor and blasted air through around this because I didn't want anything falling in. We got a lot of water out of these, which is kind of concerning. So we just pulled the fuel rails. The injectors came out, and look at that, just covered in oil. So the front one and the back one on the would be the driver's side are covered in oil, and then real dirty oil too. So they said they tested it, it's good. We're going to put all new seals in this, on the injector seals, but we just want to document this is not promising. They didn't see this on the passenger side. It came out, all 3 came out with the fuel rail, so we just got to pull one out, but you can see how they're all dry. It was just on the driver's side that we had this issue. So you can see, doesn't look good. All that grime was on the tip of the injector. But it does have a 1-year warranty, so we'll see what they say. This one was all pretty good. I don't know what they do when they test these. This is the tag, pre-installation procedures. Well, they tell you to replace the valve cover gaskets, so to replace valve cover gaskets, you got to pull injectors on this. So we'll be doing that. We'll be pulling the oil pump, oil pan, and the oil sump screen pickup tube because we got to swap them over. Replace valve cover gaskets. We'll be replacing the thermostat, flushing the coolant system, new spark plugs and wires, new belts and hoses, and verify engine timing. So to do all that, you have to pull the valve covers. To pull the valve covers, you got to pull the injectors. So you can see they put their heat sinks in there on the cylinder heads. All right, we're gonna finish pulling these. We got to pull one injector and then both valve covers. So, all right, so I got one valve cover off. Getting ready to pull the driver's side off. And what we wanted to go over, same thing we noticed on the $1,500 LR4. You'll see YouTube videos, and I did it too, because that's what I followed that. Said, well, you can check it through the oil cap. You know, go down there and check it. So let's pull this off and show you why you can't rely on that. This is driver's side. It's not bad. I wouldn't be concerned about that much movement. Okay, that's all you can check. Now, with the passenger side off, look what you got. So, just keep that in mind. Just don't base anything on what you find on this side, because this side could be completely different. We found that on the LR4, on the $1,500 LR4. This is a Jaguar engine out of a Jaguar 2012 XF with 119,000. We haven't pulled this cover off to see if we get sludging into these. We did have it on our $1,500 one, and it was the passenger side that was super loose like that. So I could easily see that causing timing code, especially in colder weather. So keep that in mind. We're going to finish pulling everything apart, checking out the tensioners and everything, but that's why we do this. You know, this is a perfect time. We're thinking the oil that we found here was most likely oil that leaked on the valve cover and went in there. Those two were the worst ones, which makes sense. And then when I pull it out, it's just covered in it, so oil's just sitting there. That's why we're going to replace the valve cover gaskets and all that good stuff. So, all right, I'm going to get a drain pan underneath here, let it drain while we pull apart everything else. There shouldn't be any oil in it, but you never know. We'll get it draining out, and we'll pull all these covers off. We'll strip down the timing. We'll get it in safe mode, show you how the lock goes on, show you how the camshaft locks go on, get all that good stuff. I think right now all we got to do is pull this off. We'll go ahead and pull the water pump off because we're going to change it. I wonder if this got drain plugs. Block drain plugs. Oh, right back there's a big old one. So we'll probably pull those out, see if we can get the rest of that coolant out. Get the much coolant out of the block as possible. This is loose, so we don't have to worry about breaking it loose, because this one ended up having a broken stud. This dampener pulley was on the 2012 or 2011. My daughter's. One of the bolts broke off. Instead of fighting with it, I pulled the pulley dampener off of this, separated it, put it on my daughter. So don't worry. We'll get this one off, and as long as the dampener pulley comes off on the 2012, we'll swap them over. But it's not bad. I tell you what, it's a lot easier, a lot more enjoyable working on these on an engine stand. So, all right, we're going to get at it. We'll pull everything off the front here, inspect it, and drain some oil. All right, we're moving right along. Kean got both front covers off, so we got that off. We pulled the water pump off. So something to note on the Land Rovers, you won't have this bolt here. The fan pedestal mounts there. So we got an extra bolt that we don't have to worry about. But we're getting, this is one of the O-rings that they updated, so we'll replace that. So he's gonna go ahead and we'll pull this cover off, and we got the oil draining. I drained most of it. So no signs of water or anything, so that's good. We'll get it all swapped out. Go from there. Let's see. I think right now we pulled the front cover off, and might as well go ahead and pull vacuum pump out too. So it's looking good. What are we gonna do next? We'll work on this and then we'll see what we want to do. All right, Keen's got the front cover pulled off, and we did find this little piece of plastic sitting right here. So initially we can't really tell where, if it came off in here. I'm guessing it came off of something, but we'll try to pull it apart and see if we can identify where it came off of. Good thing is we're pulling the oil pan, so we'll check out the suction tube. There's some looseness on the fuel pump drive chain, so could be they just turned it. This is the tension side of it. They might have just turned it backwards, but we're going to replace that. So we're going to go ahead and pull our tensioners out, and we'll pull our guides off and go from there. Actually, before we can do that, we'll have to put our cam locks in, because we won't be able to break these loose, and we can't pull the chain out on this one because it won't clear without pulling that off. So all right, I think we'll set this to the safe position and put our crank lock in and go over that. All right, so one of the benefits of doing this out of the car, I get to show you guys it's a little easier where everything's at. So this is the driver's side of your engine. And if you just go down the driver's side, there's our crankshaft position sensor. The Torx 30-bit. So we'll go ahead and pull that out so we can put our alignment pin in once we get it positioned in the safe, so-called safe position. So let me zip that out and we'll get ready to rotate it. Okay, so we got everything off the front, but we haven't disconnected any timing parts. We have a keyway that's at the 6 o'clock, the downward position. We got a timing mark here, which is in the general idea. And then the other one's down here. Let's see if I can get a better view. Right there. Let me wipe it off. How's that? There's our timing mark. Okay. And then on this side, one here and one here. Now, when it's in the car, you got to use an inspection mirror to look at the back of your camshafts. And what you're looking for, see, got enough light here. What I notice is this, they both will have numbers on them. Some might be more readable than others. But what you want to pay attention to is the one that's got that rectangle crosshatch. It looks painted, but it's just like a machine surface. Okay? Each one has that. There it's a little darker because it's out of the light. Here's another one. And then down here in this one. Okay. See, that one's hard. You can see the numbers on both of them. You can barely make out the cross or machine surface. So it's kind of tricky, but that's what you're looking for. That machine surface has to be, or marking has to be on the bottom half of the camshaft, closest to the cylinder head. And then your slot in your camshaft should be the same angle as your cylinder head. So that's how you know you're in the right, you're what they call a safe mode. Now, if we take our cam lock out of our kit, we should be able to insert it in our camshaft position spot. So then I could have Kean just slightly rotate it, just very, very slow. So you want to make sure, because it's square, you want to make sure your bolt hole's lined up. And he's just going to very slowly, clockwise. Okay, so we got it in there. See there? Seated right in. It's very close tolerance, which is good. Just needed 2 hands to do it. So now we got that set in there. We're gonna set up our blocks for the camshafts, and then that'll allow us to take our stuff off the back. All right, so we have our cam locks in place. This is the passenger side. We just have our wing nuts on this one, and then here's the driver's side where we got some modified bolts in there. But big thing you want to pay attention to is that it's square. You'll find Sometimes it'll want to kick off, the bottom will kick back. That'll drive you nuts. Then you want to make sure that your keyway or the bar that goes across that slot is even on both the top and bottom. And that's it. You don't need to torque them down, and you got to be careful because you don't want to break your camshaft. I'll show an example of that. But this is installed just hand tight. We're not even trying to time it because this is just to hold it so we can pull our variators off. And then when we go to put it back together, that's when we'll have our special tool on here, move it back and forth and get it super tight. So we should be able to get rid of that little angle you see in the back here. So we'll go to a good video when we do that. Basically, right now, we're just tearing it down, and then the reassembly is the important part. So we'll show you how tricky or what to pay attention to. So, all right, so we had the back locked. We got our alignment pin in. We're at 6 o'clock here. So now we can tear it apart. You'll tear apart your passenger side first because this side is, the chain is in front of your driver's side. So we'll pull that stuff off first. Then we'll pull this side off. We'll be able to see if there's sludging in the variators and see if we can identify where that broken piece came from. So, all right, we're going to tear this apart and we'll keep you updated. Okay, we got all the timing parts pulled out. Good news is we didn't get any signs of sludging on any of the variator bolts. Got the chains out. We did figure out where that broken piece was, so it's a good thing we're doing the timing on it. Is on the driver's side tensioning guide. So broke right off the end here. Looks like that's the only piece that we're missing, so but we'll verify once we pull the oil pan. Yeah, here's all our timing parts. No other broken pieces that we can find. So it's just strange because we had more tension on the driver's side, but that's the side that had the broken piece. So who knows? All right, I think we're gonna call it a night. Put a couple hours into this, so I don't know if we put a couple hours, probably what, 2 hours just playing around with it. At least we did a good inspection. We're not worried about sludging. We'll pull the pan off tomorrow. Probably pull the drain block drains, get the coolant out of there, and then we just clean up all the surfaces and start putting the timing parts back together. Yeah, we'll do as much as we can until we're ready. And once we got this as far as we can go, we will pull in the LR4 and start taking it apart to pull the motor. That's going to be it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one where we pull the motor out of the Land Rover LR4. Thanks for watching.